All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're journeying into the incredible world of Vedic mythology to meet two of its most dynamic and, honestly, most fascinating figures.
But first, let me ask you something. When you think of ancient gods, you probably think of powerful kings or fierce warriors, right? But what about the celestial paramedics? You know, the divine doctors who would race across the cosmos to help out the sick and the injured?
Well, the answer would be these two, the Ashwini Kumaras. They were quite literally the divine physicians of the gods, and they were revered as master healers and bringers of renewal way back in the Vedic world.
So, where did these incredible twins even come from? Well, their origin story is it's pure cosmic epic. They were born from Surya, the sun god, and Saranyu, the goddess of dawn. The story goes that Saranyu was so overwhelmed by the sun's sheer intensity that she transformed into a mare and fled. And it was in that horse form that she gave birth to our twin heroes. That's why you so often see them as horsemen, or sometimes even with horse heads themselves.
Now, you gotta understand, these weren't just any old gods. Nasataya and Dasra, those are their names, they were specialists. They rode this amazing golden chariot across the sky, which symbolized the life force itself, what we call prana. And, being twins of the dawn, they represented the promise of a brand new day, a fresh start.
And believe me, their reputation was built on action. The ancient texts are just packed with these stories of their incredible and often totally miraculous interventions.
What's so cool about them is that they weren't shown as these distant, untouchable gods. No, they were seen as allies, as friends to anyone who needed them. And their healing was profound. We're not just talking about curing a cold. They restored youth and vitality. One of their most famous gigs was rejuvenating an elderly sage named Chivana. They whipped up this special elixir just for him, and get this, that formula is said to be the origin of the famous Ayurvedic tonic we all know today, Chyawanprash.
And if you want to talk about clever, this story is just wow. They wanted the secret of immortality, the Madhu Vidya, from the sage Dadichi. But there was a problem. The god Indra had threatened to chop off the head of anyone who shared it. So what did they do? They came up with a genius plan. They replaced Dadichi's head with a horse's head before he told them. The sage taught them the secret, Indra came down and carried out his threat on the horse head, and then the Ashwinis just popped the sage's original head right back on. I mean, problem solved. Absolutely brilliant.
Now, you might be thinking these are just cool myths, right? Well, there's so much more than that. These stories are woven deep into one of the world's oldest sacred texts, which gives us this amazing window into how people saw them thousands of years ago.
Just look at this. 50 plus, that's not a typo. Over 50 hymns in the Rigveda are dedicated specifically to the Ashwini Kumaras. That is a huge testament to just how important they were. These were not minor players. They were totally central to the spiritual world of that time.
And the language they use for them is just beautiful. This quote calls them rich in wondrous deeds and heroes worthy of our praise. The hymns again and again paint this picture of them as swift, effective, compassionate miracle workers, always rushing to help out gods and mortals.
Okay, so we've seen them as healers in the myths, but their story doesn't end there, not even close. The legacy of the Ashwini Kumaras stretches way beyond ancient hymns and right into the cosmos itself, where they form a core piece of Vedic astrology, or Jyotisha.
And this is where it all just clicks perfectly into place. You can basically draw a straight line from their mythological identity to their astrological meaning. Them being swift rescuers, that becomes the energy of quick action. Their mastery of healing, that becomes an innate gift for healing. The chariot, speed and transportation. And their link to the dawn, new beginnings. It's a perfect one-to-one mapping of myth to cosmic energy.
So to really get their role here, we need to quickly talk about nakshatras. It's simple, really. Just imagine the zodiac is divided into 27 unique sectors, or lunar mansions. Each one of these nakshatras has its own personality, its own special energy, and a ruling deity that defines what it's all about. And who do you think the guardians of the most important one of all are? The very first nakshatra, the one that kicks off the entire zodiacal cycle. You guessed it, the Ashwini Kumaras. It's even named Ashwini in their honor, and it's known as the Star of Transport. So, what does it actually mean to be governed by these divine doctors? Let's dive in and take a look at the energetic blueprint of this Ashwini Nakshatra.
This chart here kind of gives you the full astrological DNA of Ashwini. It's ruled by Ketu, the planet of intuition. Its element is fire, so it's super dynamic. But the most direct link to our twins, the real clincher, is its Shakti, its unique power. And that power is the power to quickly attain objectives. I mean, That is the Ashwini Kumaras in a nutshell, right? Speed, efficiency, and getting things done now.
So if someone has a really strong Ashwini placement in their birth chart, you'll often see these exact traits. These are the pioneers, the trailblazers, the natural-born healers. They have just boundless energy, this magnetic charm, and they're often drawn to careers that involve speed and healing. Think ER doctors, top athletes, or groundbreaking innovators. They are here to start things.
So, as you can see, the thread connects everything perfectly. From the poetic hymns of the Rigveda all the way to the precise calculations you'd find in a modern astrological chart, the Ashwini Kumaras have always stood for the same powerful ideas: healing, incredible speed, and most of all, the courage to begin.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. The energy of the Ashwinis is the energy of dawn itself, that powerful moment when darkness finally gives way to light and a whole new cycle can start. So, the question they kind of leave us with is this one: where in your own life is it time for a new dawn?